Are you making the most out of the money that you already have, or are you not certain? Keep watching to find out as I go over some great research on making the most out of the money that you already have. Basically, three different professors, Elizabeth Dunn from the University of British Columbia, Daniel Gilbert from Harvard University, and Timothy Wilson from University of Virginia, came together and wrote an article called "If Money Doesn't Make You Happy, then you probably aren't spending it right." In the article, they explain 8 ways to spend your money. I'll explain the 8 ways throughout this video. So, number 1, buy more experiences and fewer material goods. In my last video, I explained that when you buy material goods, the excitement is very short-lived and it quickly fades away. If you haven't watched that video, then I highly recommend you to watch it. It is a very informative video. I'm just going to go ahead and keep my focus on the content of this video. So what number 1 is basically saying is that instead of buying more material item, buy more experiences. So for example, instead of buying a fancy watch, go out on a trip, a vacation, travel, experience life. You'll feel much more satisfied and you'll remember the experience even years down the line, and it'll be much more meaningful to you. If you bought the fancy watch, the hype and excitement would probably fade away pretty quick, and it probably wouldn't mean as much to you. So that was number 1, buy more experiences and fewer material goods. Number 2, use your money to benefit others rather than just yourself. Research has shown that people who are devoted to gifting to others and donating to charities, even after accounting for their own income, were actually happier than those who only cared about themselves. Now, I've met people years back who, when it came to spending on themselves, it was as if the sky was the limit. But when it came to spending on others, they became the stingiest person in the world. Now, what they didn't realize was that they were actually missing out. When you give to others with a devoted, open heart to actually giving, the joy and happiness that you receive when you give to others is actually much greater than when you're just spending on yourself. No matter how little you have, you can always spend just a tiny bit of what you have to give to others. And while we're still on the topic of benefiting others, I do want to mention that even though we're talking about money over here, you can also give to others by giving your time to them. So that was number 2. Number 2, benefit others. Number 3, buy many smaller pleasures rather than fewer larger ones. So what research has found was that because happiness is so short-lived, it is better to use your money to buy many smaller pleasures rather than fewer larger ones. And that way you'll continue to feel pleasure more frequently rather than if you were to just use your money to buy larger items. So for example, I can use $1,000 to probably, let's say, buy a fancy watch worth $1,000. And I'll probably get over that watch pretty quickly and the hype will fade away and I won't be as excited anymore as I was when I first received the watch. Or instead, I can use that $1,000 to buy some small decorations for the house and then use the remainder of whatever I have left to, let's say, go out to a restaurant that I enjoy eating at, and then use another portion of that $1,000 to, let's say, buy a small gift for a friend or a family member, and then use the remainder of it to, let's say, go out on a small trip somewhere. So I can do a whole lot more with that $1,000 if I spent it on smaller pleasures and be able to receive pleasures much more frequently rather than if I was to just spend it all on fewer larger items. So that's number 3 for you. Buy many smaller pleasures rather than fewer larger ones. Alright, now before we move on to number 4, if you're enjoying the content so far, then do me a favor and smash the thumbs up button. Like literally destroy it, like destroy the thumbs up button. Okay, it costs you nothing, but it greatly helps out the channel. So please destroy the thumbs up button. Alright, so I'll wait for you until you do it. Okay, so now that you've destroyed the thumbs up button, let's move on to number 4. Now, number 4, avoid extended warranties and other forms of overpriced insurance. Now, the bad news is that we adapt to good things very quickly, but the good news is that we also adapt to bad things very quickly as well. When companies sell extended warranties, they know that they're actually making a profit off of it, and that is the reason that they sell you extended warranties. Research has shown that we actually waste our money when we buy extended warranties. So save your money and avoid buying extended warranties. Number 5, delay consumption. Research has shown that when we delay consumption, we actually achieve a much more lasting pleasure rather than if we were to consume right away. For example, imagine that a boy goes to the store with his mother and the boy wants a toy. And now the mother is given two options. Option 1, she can buy him 2 toys today, or option 2, she can tell the boy that they will come back tomorrow, the next day, and she'll buy him 1 toy. Now, which option do you think will give the boy a more lasting and pleasurable experience? Feel free to pause the video and think about it before I go ahead and I tell you the answer. If you guessed option 1, then you are wrong. Ha! Got you there. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, let's move on. So if you guessed option 2, then yes, option 2 is the correct answer. Option 2 will allow the boy to have a more lasting and pleasurable experience. When the mother tells the boy she'll come back tomorrow to buy him 1 toy without really telling him what she's gonna buy him, the boy will daydream about which toy the mother will get him and he'll fantasize about it. And when he finally receives it, he'll be very excited and he'll have a much more lasting and pleasurable experience. Now, another benefit of delaying consumption is that it allows us to make better choices. For example, I can tell myself that I can have ice cream right now, or I can rather have it tomorrow after work. If I have the ice cream right now, then I'll just have it. But if I tell myself that I'll have it tomorrow after work, then by the time it gets to after work and by the time I get to the ice cream, I might have maybe changed my mind and my decision for a healthier alternative to the ice cream. For example, maybe a chocolate cake. No, I'm just joking. No, something healthier than ice cream. And we all know chocolate cake isn't the healthiest thing out there. So that was number 5, delay consumption. Okay, now number 6, consider the features of your purchases and how it affects your day-to-day life. Oftentimes, we may buy things that have great features, but those features may not be the right features that we need for our day-to-day life. For example, imagine that an engineering student is looking to buy a new laptop for his or her engineering courses. So they go online and they start looking up different laptops. And they come across a MacBook Pro. The MacBook looks very sleek and modern. It's very lightweight and thin, and it's great for video editing and photo editing and content creating. And this laptop just overall looks like an amazing laptop. But what this person doesn't realize is that when it comes to engineering, he or she would be making a much more informed decision purchasing a Windows laptop with the specifications needed to run engineering software. So that was number 6. Consider the features of your purchases and how it affects your day-to-day life. Now, we have 2 more left. So number 7, beware of comparison shopping. Many times we want to compare different products or items to see the features that each item has to offer. And that allows us to choose the item that has the best feature or options. But when we comparison shop, we may actually alter our way of thinking from focusing on the features or options of a product that are actually beneficial for us to those that might not even apply to us. For example, let's go back to the engineering student. And this time, instead of comparing a Windows PC to, let's say, a MacBook, the engineering student this time is actually comparing the options and features on different Windows laptops. And this time, the engineering student sees a Windows laptop with a very powerful graphics card. And the graphics card is great for PC gaming, but let's say the student only plays video games on a gaming console, for example, maybe an Xbox or a PS5. But now what the student doesn't realize is that instead of spending the money on a Windows laptop with a very powerful graphics card, they would have made a much more informed decision actually spending the money on better RAM or other hardware specifications to run engineering software, because they're not going to be playing video games on the laptop. All right, now the last one, number 8. Follow the herd instead of your head. What that basically means is that us humans, we are similar. So if majority of people enjoy a certain item, there's a pretty good chance that we'll enjoy it as well. And that is the reason why we look at reviews and see what other people find enjoyable. For example, let's say you are visiting a new city and you want to find good restaurants to go eat at. So what do? You open up your phone and you start looking at restaurants with very high ratings. Restaurants that majority of people rated very high or gave very good reviews to are probably going to be one of the restaurants that you're going to want to go to and you will also find enjoyable as well. Now, I want to go back to number 7 really quick. Number 7 was beware of comparison shopping. Although number 7 is talking about comparison between things, beware also of comparing yourself to others. I plan to make another video on unlocking your greatest potential, where I explain in depth the concept of comparing yourself to others and how comparing yourself to others can actually take you backwards, and the steps that you can take to instead become the greatest version of yourself that you can be. Please like, comment down below with any comments that you might have, share, subscribe. Also, hit the bell icon button so you'll be notified every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.